Imagine waking up one morning in 2026 and realizing that nothing has crashed. The buildings are still standing, the stock market screens are still glowing green and red, the news anchors are still smiling, yet somehow everything you trusted is already dead. This is the most dangerous moment in history because crashes make noise, but collapses whisper. The greatest financial disasters do not arrive like explosions. They arrive like fog, quiet, slow, suffocating. And by the time people realize they cannot breathe, it is already too late. For decades, people were trained to wait for a crash, a sudden drop, a sharp line downward, a single moment where everything breaks. But 2026 will not offer that comfort. There will be no single day to point at, no headline screaming, "the end." Instead, there will be a gradual realization that the future has been quietly canceled. Jobs will still exist, but they will no longer build lives. Money will still circulate, but it will no longer mean security. Governments will still speak, but their words will no longer protect anyone. The system learned something after every past crisis. In 2008, it learned that panic is dangerous. In 2020, it learned that fear can be managed with money creation. By 2026, it will fully understand that the real threat is awareness. As long as people believe things are recovering, the system survives. So it will not crash. It will decay. And decay is far more cruel than destruction. Inflation will not explode overnight. It will linger like a disease. Prices will not skyrocket in one dramatic surge. They will rise just enough that people blame themselves. You will hear phrases like tight budget, temporary pressure, adjustment period. People will stop saving not because they want to spend, but because saving will feel pointless. When money loses its promise of tomorrow, people are forced to live only for today. Debt will not trigger alarms. It will normalize itself. Governments will borrow more, not because they want to, but because stopping would cause immediate collapse. Corporations will refinance endlessly, rolling obligations forward like a ball that can never stop moving. Households will survive on payments, not ownership. Everything becomes a subscription, including life itself. What makes 2026 worse than a crash is that there will be no moment of unity. Crashes scare everyone at the same time. Decay isolates people. Each person will think they are failing alone. Why can't I get ahead? Why does it feel harder than it should? Why am I working more and living less? The answer will never appear on the news because the truth would destroy confidence. And confidence is the last currency holding the system together. Central banks will speak softly, carefully, cautiously. Interest rates will no longer be tools. They will be symbols. Raise them too much and debt collapses. Lower them too fast and currency credibility dies. So policy will freeze into indecision. The illusion of control will matter more than control itself. By 2026, markets will not reflect reality. They will reflect intervention. Prices will move not because of value, but because of expectation of rescue. Every dip will be bought not by confidence, but by habit. People will not believe things are healthy. They will believe things are too big to fail. And that belief is the most fragile foundation ever built. The middle class will not disappear dramatically. It will thin, slowly, silently. Benefits will shrink. Stability will fade. Families will delay children, homes, futures. Time itself will feel expensive. Every decision will carry weight because mistakes can no longer be absorbed. Social tension will not explode into chaos. It will harden into resentment. Groups will blame each other because the real enemy, systemic decay, is too abstract to fight. Politics will grow louder precisely because solutions will grow weaker. Distraction will replace reform. And through all of this, the most unsettling thing will be how normal it feels. People adapt to almost anything. Humans can normalize decline as long as it is gradual. That is why 2026 will not feel like the end. It will feel like exhaustion. This is not the collapse people prepared for. It is worse, because there is no single villain, no single moment, no single escape. The system will not break, it will trap. By the time people finally understand what 2026 represents, the damage will already be psychological. The belief in progress, the idea that tomorrow is automatically better than today, will quietly vanish. And when a society loses belief in its future, it does not riot immediately. It withdraws. It becomes smaller, meaner, more careful. Dreams shrink first, then ambition, then hope. Work will lose its meaning, not because people are lazy, but because effort will no longer guarantee improvement. Productivity will rise while wages stagnate. Automation will not steal jobs suddenly. It will erode leverage slowly. Workers will feel replaceable even when employed. Fear will become the background noise of everyday life. Governments will promise stability, but stability without growth is just slow decline. Safety nets will stretch thinner each year, not through cuts alone, but through inflation. Assistance will exist in name while losing power in reality. People will technically be supported while practically falling behind. Markets will remain open, but trust will be closed. Investors will chase protection instead of opportunity. Capital will flow into assets that promise survival, not innovation. The future will feel risky, so money will cling to the past. This is how civilizations stagnate, not through collapse, but through fear of movement. The worst part of 2026 will be memory. People will remember when things felt easier, fairer, lighter. They will compare constantly, and comparison breeds despair. Nostalgia will replace optimism. When societies look backward more than forward, they begin to age rapidly. Technology will advance, but it will not save morale. Faster systems cannot fix broken incentives. Convenience cannot replace security. Entertainment will become louder as reality becomes heavier. Escapism will thrive because facing truth will feel unbearable. And still, there will be no crash. Just a long realization that the rules change while everyone was distracted, that wealth no longer flows upward through effort, but sideways through access, that freedom now depends less on income and more on flexibility, that survival requires awareness, not obedience. History will look back at 2026 not as the year everything broke, but as the year people stopped believing the system could be fixed. That is the true point of no return. When trust dies, recovery becomes impossible without reinvention. This is why 2026 will be worse than a crash. A crash ends. This does not. It lingers. It reshapes behavior. It teaches people to expect less. And a society that expects less eventually becomes less. But understanding this truth is also power. Because awareness breaks spells. Systems rely on belief. Once belief fades, new paths become visible. Not easy paths, not safe ones, but real ones. 2026 is not the end of the world. It is the end of illusions. And what comes after depends on who sees it coming and who refuses to. By the time the world reaches the later half of 2026, the most dangerous shift will not be economic. It will be mental. People will stop asking when things will get better, and instead ask how long they can endure. That single change in mindset separates temporary crisis from permanent decline. Societies do not collapse when resources run out. They collapse when belief does. The idea of normal life will quietly expire. Not announced, not debated, just abandoned. People will redefine success downward. Stability will replace growth as the dream. Survival will replace ambition. And when enough people lower their expectations, the system will take it as permission to lower standards permanently. This is how control truly works, not through force, but through exhaustion. When people are tired, they stop resisting. When they are confused, they stop questioning. When they are distracted, they stop noticing. 2026 will not bring change, it will bring fatigue. A population too worn out to demand better, too busy surviving to imagine alternatives. Education will promise opportunity while delivering uncertainty. Hard work will be praised publicly while quietly punished economically. Rules will feel flexible for the powerful and rigid for everyone else. And people will sense the imbalance even if they cannot fully explain it. At this stage, history repeats its oldest pattern. Those who understand the shift early adapt. They simplify. They reduce dependence. They stop trusting narratives and start reading signals. They do not wait for permission to protect themselves. Meanwhile, those who cling to the old rules will feel betrayed because the game changed without warning and without mercy. The most uncomfortable truth of 2026 is this: no rescue is coming. No policy, no election, no miracle intervention will restore the world people remember. That world was built on assumptions that no longer exist. Cheap money, endless growth, stable trust. Once those pillars crack, nostalgia becomes dangerous. But endings are not only losses, they are also clarifications. When illusions die, reality becomes visible, and reality, while harsh, is navigable. Those who accept the new landscape early gain an advantage not of wealth, but of awareness. 2026 will separate people into two groups, not rich and poor, but awake and asleep. Those who wait for confirmation will be the last to receive it. Those who act on understanding will shape whatever comes next. History will not call this period a crash. Crashes are short, dramatic, and recoverable. This will be remembered as a transition, the slow crossing from one era to another, painful, uneven, unfair, but irreversible. And when future generations ask how it happened, the answer will be unsettlingly simple. Nothing broke all at once. People just kept going until they realized they were somewhere else. 2026 will not be the year the world ended. It will be the year the old world stopped pretending it could continue. And the most important question will not be what was lost, but who understood it in time.